That allowed me to be in a building just around 8 o'clock, and training start at 11 o'clock.
How does a shy kid from Senegal become the captain of one of the greatest teams English football has ever seen? Patrick Vieira's story begins far from the roars of European stadiums. Born in Dakar, raised in France from age 8, and molded by a childhood that taught him resilience long before he ever lifted a trophy. Before he became the heartbeat of Arsenal's midfield, he found himself at AC Milan, surrounded by legends but barely stepping onto the pitch, an experience he later described as the real birthplace of his professionalism. But the world truly met Vieira when he arrived in North London, where he evolved from an unproven talent into the towering leader of the Invincibles, guiding Arsenal through an unbeaten season etched forever into football history. And his influence didn't stop at the final whistle. From World Cup glory to his evolution into a manager across Europe and the US, Vieira's life is a blueprint of ambition, reinvention, and quiet power. Let me take you to the very beginning, before the trophies, before the captain's armband, before the world ever learned his name. On June 23, 1976, in a modest home tucked within Dakar's Cape Verdean community, a long-limbed, bright-eyed child entered the world, unaware that fate had already marked him for greatness. His family named him Patrick Paul Vieira, never imagining that this boy would one day command the respect of the global football stage. Dakar became young Patrick's first universe. Its rhythms shaped him, the lively street chatter, the pulse of crowded markets, and the echoing thump of footballs bouncing through dusty alleys. Yet beneath this vibrant backdrop, his family carried a quiet longing shared by many, the dream of opportunities lying just beyond their horizon. When Patrick turned 8, that dream stirred to life. Suitcases snapped shut, goodbyes stretched into tight embraces, and the Vieira family set off for Europe. Their destination was Dreux, a small town in north-central France. For Patrick, the move felt like being thrust from the sun into shadow, the warm familiarity of Dakar replaced by a cold unfamiliarity that clung to him like an oversized coat. France was not always welcoming. In schoolyards and on street corners, Patrick faced discrimination, subtle sometimes, cruel at others. For a child, such moments can crush confidence like glass underfoot. But Patrick did not crumble. Instead, adversity hardened him, sharpening his resolve the way fire tempers steel. And through it all, one constant remained: football. On the rough fields of Dreux, Patrick found the one place he felt undeniably alive. Even as a boy, he was impossible to overlook, tall, imposing, and guided by a natural instinct that seemed older than he was. Coaches at AS Dreux, where he began playing at 9, noticed immediately. His touch was raw, yet promising, his presence already commanding. Word began to travel. Soon, larger clubs murmured his name with interest. The chance to join the FC Tours Youth Academy arrived like a door swinging open, football shifting from a refuge to a rising pathway. Patrick Vieira's professional life unfolds like the journey of a man carved by ambition and hardened by trial. It began on the quiet pitches of Cannes, where a towering young midfielder with a rare instinct for the game stood out like a flame in the dusk. His promise carried him to AC Milan, an illustrious stage, but one that offered only whispers of opportunity. Milan, however, proved less a destination and more a bridge, because destiny was waiting just across the channel. In 1996, Vieira arrived at Arsenal for a modest fee, stepping into a club on the verge of rebirth under Arsène Wenger. London became the forge that transformed him from raw potential into a force of nature. His game was a beautiful paradox, grace wrapped around iron, elegance fused with ferocity. He didn't just command midfields. He dominated them like a general marshalling an entire battlefield. Over 9 unforgettable years, he collected 3 Premier League titles, including the immortal unbeaten Invincibles season, and 4 FA Cups. 6 straight selections to the Premier League PFA Team of the Year cemented him as the era's relentless standard-bearer. His next chapters took him back to Italy. After a turbulent stay at Juventus, shaken by the Calciopoli scandal, he moved to Inter Milan, where he restored his rhythm and stacked Serie A titles like a man reclaiming his throne. In the twilight of his playing days, he joined Manchester City, capturing one last FA Cup before stepping off the pitch for good, having climbed nearly every summit the sport could offer. Internationally, he shone just as brightly. Vieira helped lead France through its golden era, lifting the 1998 World Cup, Euro 2000, and the 2001 Confederations Cup, while featuring in multiple major tournaments, including the dramatic 2006 World Cup final. His place among football's greats was sealed with his inclusion on the FIFA 100 list, a rare honor for a player whose presence spoke louder than statistics. Retirement did not slow him, it simply redirected him. He began shaping teams from the sidelines, first with Manchester City's academy, then with New York City FC, where his coaching echoed the same disciplined purpose he once brought to midfield battles. Stints at Nice, Crystal Palace, and Strasbourg followed, each role a new chapter in his evolution, each club molding him as much as he molded them. In 2024, he took the reins at Genoa, guiding them to a steady 13th place finish and earning a contract extension. But football, ever unpredictable, shifted again. A harsh start to the next season saw him depart in late 2025. By 2026, he stood without a club, yet far from directionless. Vieira now waits between chapters, still respected for his tactical clarity and ability to steer teams through rebuilding storms. Across his lifetime in the game, he has gathered honors that could overwhelm a trophy cabinet: a World Cup, a European Championship, a Champions League title, Premier League and Serie A crowns, FA Cups, Italian Cups, Super Cups, and a constellation of individual awards. But his legacy is not measured in silver alone. It lies in his presence, in the authority he carried like a mantle, and the resolve that made him seem carved from something steadier than stone. Vieira's story feels less like one that has ended, and more like one gathering strength, waiting for its next rise. Stepping off the pitch, Patrick Vieira's personal life unfolded with a calmness that stood in striking contrast to the storm and spectacle of his football career, as if his home life were a quiet harbor beside a roaring sea. He met Cheryl Plaza, a Trinidadian woman 8 years older, in 1998 during his early Arsenal days. Their bond grew softly, away from the stadium noise, and Cheryl, having lived through 2 previous marriages, became a steady, grounding presence in his world. Their story deepened in 2005. The same year Vieira left Arsenal for Juventus, when they married and quietly began a partnership built on loyalty rather than headlines. They later welcomed their daughter Cherise, whom they've kept shielded from public view, reflecting Vieira's fierce instinct to protect the people he loves. Some reports also mention a son named Chi, further hinting at how seriously he holds his role as a father, even if he rarely lets the outside world see inside. Through transfers, triumphs, setbacks, and every shift in his football journey, Cheryl remained his constant, the quiet force beside the legend, steady as a lighthouse guiding him through the changing tides of the sport. Patrick Vieira's private life may have been a calm refuge from football's storms, but another side of him rises like a hidden empire. His wealth, built with the same sharp precision he once brought to every midfield duel. Stepping into this chapter feels like moving from a quiet chamber into the gleaming vault of a kingdom he crafted himself. His fortune is no stroke of luck, estimated at over £27 million, around $33 million. Vieira's wealth reflects decades of strategy carved into every phase of his career. At Arsenal, where his rise accelerated, his 2003 contract delivered roughly $72,000 a week, fitting pay for a captain who controlled matches like a general conducting a battlefield symphony. Transfers to Juventus, Inter Milan, and Manchester City only stacked his riches higher, each club paying premium prices for a leader who could shift the tone of a game like a sudden change in weather. But retirement didn't dim the momentum. Vieira's managerial journey reshaped his financial landscape once again, with top-tier contracts, most notably a £4 million a year deal at Crystal Palace, adding fresh fuel to his growing estate. Every club he coached, NYCFC, Nice, Palace, Strasbourg, Genoa, became another steady step in the quiet climb he engineered with the discipline of a man who never wasted a pass. Unlike stars who showcase their business ventures like trophies, Vieira remains almost secretive. No flashy investments, no grand displays, just a steady, deliberate accumulation powered by elite wages and long-term stability. His wealth stands like a fortress he built brick by brick, crafted to withstand shifting leagues, shifting roles, and shifting eras. In the end, Patrick Vieira's financial story mirrors the man himself, powerful without shouting, disciplined without spectacle, formidable with a kind of quiet thunder, a fortune shaped by strategy, patience, and the calm certainty of someone who never needed noise to prove his worth. Now, let's step into the world of how Patrick Vieira spends the wealth he earns, beginning with his fortresses of choice, mansions, in the quiet, dignified lanes of Hampstead, where ancient London trees bend over the streets like guardians whispering old stories, stood a house Vieira simply refused to let sink into mediocrity. He had bought it for £3 million, nestled near the peaceful expanse of Hampstead Heath, private, serene, yet imperfect, in ways the former Arsenal captain couldn't overlook. So instead of repairing it, he wiped the slate clean. The old home fell, and in its place rose a 4-story, 9,000 square foot modern hideaway carved into the hillside like a secret citadel, a basement cinema, a solarium, even a car lift, each detail shaping a sanctuary of sleek, futuristic calm. But this was far from his first architectural statement. Back in 2001, Vieira had secured another £3.5 million Hampstead mansion, this one shimmering like something not built, but landed. Its glass-fronted exterior caught sunlight like a mirror to another dimension, revealing a lagoon-shaped indoor pool and a master suite bathed in shifting fiber-optic constellations. At the press of a button, a plasma TV descended from the ceiling as if lowered by invisible hands. It wasn't a home that flaunted its luxury. It glowed with it, quietly and confidently. Beyond London's polished hillsides, another chapter of his property journey unfolded in the soft greenery of Cheshire. There, he owned a sprawling £2.2 million estate, 7 bedrooms drifting across 6,500 square feet, complete with a gym, sauna, wine cellar, and open spaces that felt as wide as the next chapter of his career. Bought during his Manchester City years, it became both a residence and a command centre for a man shifting from player to coach. And when the time came, he sold it with the same calm precision with which he had lived there. Across these landscapes, from Hampstead's futuristic retreats to Cheshire's quiet sprawl, one truth stands firm. Vieira doesn't just buy houses, he builds sanctuaries, places that guard him, places that breathe, places that echo his lifelong philosophy. Construct quietly, stand firmly, and speak only when purpose calls. And as the camera drifts away from these architectural chapters, some reborn, others released, you're left with a hum beneath it all. For his car collections, Patrick Vieira's connection to cars isn't defined by sleek engines or gleaming badges. It's defined by what he keeps in the dark. In a football world where roaring supercars are flaunted like unofficial trophies, Vieira stands apart, as quiet and unreadable as a shadow at dusk. His lavish properties, from the Hampstead fortress carved into the hillside to the peaceful Cheshire estate, are all documented, yet not a single verified trace exists of the cars that ever rolled through those driveways. Even during his Manchester City era, when teammates cruised in eye-catching machines and luxury filled the players' car park, Vieira remained the anomaly, the stillness in a room full of revving engines, his automotive choices completely absent from the public eye. And so the silence becomes its own story. While others trumpet their status through horsepower, Vieira's restraint speaks louder, like thunder held tightly behind the clouds. His closed garages weren't hiding secrets. They were extensions of his intentional, disciplined presence. The same steady authority he brought to every midfield battle. In a world obsessed with visibility, his unseen road reminds us that real power doesn't need to scream. Sometimes it barely whispers. Patrick Vieira doesn't parade his wealth, he curates it, letting his luxuries unfold quietly, like velvet laid out in a dimly lit room. Far from the glare of supercars and towering mansions, he indulges in experiences shaped by culture, comfort, and the rhythm of global travel. One of his greatest pleasures is elite international travel, often tied to major football moments. At Champions League finals in cities like Istanbul, he describes how the journey awakens his senses. taking in architecture, food, and atmosphere like an explorer wandering through a living museum. These trips come wrapped in premium hospitality packages that soar into the thousands, reflecting the understated elegance he gravitates toward. His lifestyle documentary paints him as a man who lives in refined ease, supported by a net worth of $35 to $40 million, a fortune that grants him access to top-tier travel, high-end leisure, and the quiet opulence of a life crafted at football's summit. For Vieira, luxury isn't glittering jewelry, it's moments. Soft escapes, world-class destinations, and cultural encounters that unfold like rare treasures. In a world obsessed with spectacle, his indulgence is simple and powerful, living richly, gently, and entirely on his own terms. Now let's step into the shadows. Controversy. Patrick Vieira's career has long carried the weight of authority, but even giants can slip, and when they fall, the impact thunders. His most turbulent chapter unfolded at Genoa, where a hopeful arrival in late 2024 quickly twisted into disaster. A respectable start collapsed into a nightmare. 9 league matches, 0 wins, and a team sinking to the bottom of Serie A like a stone dropped into dark water. By November 2025, the club severed ties, delivering a blunt dismissal that sent ripples across Italy. But the storm didn't stop there. The moment his sacking hit the headlines, Mario Balotelli, never one to hold his fire, pounced with a scathing outburst. He branded Vieira selfish and spat out, "Karma is turning the coach's downfall into a public spectacle and reigniting old tensions like a spark catching dry grass." His rant went further, accusing Vieira of exploiting the hard work of others and disrespecting the soul of the club, a cutting, personal blow delivered for all to watch. In the aftermath, Vieira wasn't just a manager with poor results. He became a figure standing in the eye of a storm, hit by criticism, drowned in scrutiny, and pulled into bitter public feuds. And through it all, one truth rose above the noise. Even legends can find themselves walking through fire. Every misstep magnified under football's fierce, unforgiving spotlight. And that's the curtain falling on Patrick Vieira's world. A luxury life lived not in noise, but in nuance. A life where elegance moves quietly, like a shadow with purpose, and every choice whispers confidence rather than demanding attention. If this glimpse into Vieira's refined universe left you wanting more stories told from a different angle, go ahead and like, subscribe, and stay tuned. More untold journeys await. See you in the next one.